Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious a Nerd Podcast. Never did the intro any cleaner. And joining me today is my co-host David Cochran, and we are bringing you another edition of Week in Geek. And we will also be wrapping up this episode with our coverage of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. There'll be full spoilers, that's why we're putting it at the end. It's not one of those shows where we're going to do a full breakdown like Andor or Daredevil, so sorry, we'll probably throw it in the Week in Geeks. If not, we'll do some combo episodes down the road, but we will still be talking. But don't forget to check out some of our other episodes. We are, of course, covering Daredevil Born Again. We will be covering the finale with Andy from Galactic Core Podcast. And stay tuned for our coverage of Andor and Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts comes out in like 3 weeks, so get ready. And of course, we did buy our tickets for Revenge of the Sith. It did actually pop up in our area. I just listened to that Week in Geek, and we had both pretty much lost hope, and now we're back. I'm actually seeing it twice. I'm seeing it again on Tuesday in Placerville.
All right,
so
I can't fault you for that one.
Right? But don't forget to check us out on social media at Why So Sidious Pod on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. And if you are not here on YouTube, of course, you're on Apple or Spotify, so give us a follow, 5-star review. So let's get into the news.
The news? Question mark?
The news. Sorry.
I'm Ron Burngett.
I was trying to do a little thing. There we go. How's that? Here we go.
Hey,
so
like
we do
style.
have a confirmed casting for the HBO Harry Potter series, which has been under a lot of controversy about people saying it's sacred, like Lord of the Rings, shouldn't touch it, leave it alone. Other people say, hey, one book per season could be kind of cool if they, expanded it from 2 hours to 8 hours per book. So I see both sides of it. So first we do have John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Perry Mason, the Old Man, Footloose, Terms of Endearment, Interstellar. That's also the one I know from Interstellar. He is, of course, Matthew McConaughey's dad. He has the look. I'll say that much. He has the look of Dumbledore. Give him a beard and long hair.
He's an old white guy.
He's a white guy. He has good range for an actor.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
But he's always kind of goofy. I don't know. I feel like he has a goofy feel to him. But how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
This is a very pretty iconic character too.
Yeah, I laughed actually when I first saw the casting. I was like, John Lithgow, what the hell? And again, yeah, it's nothing against him, and he might nail it. I think it's possible. It's just my first instinct is, like you said, I think of some of his more goofier roles, and then I think of him doing a British accent as Dumbledore, and I just can't help but kind of laugh at the thought of it. But, again, I could easily eat my own words here, and he could nail it. It's just my first reaction was, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope they really do take their time and care with this, because they can't blow it.
And I'm not super critical even of the casting, because I'm not on the side of it's sacred, you can't touch it. I don't care as much, I guess. So yeah, I think the series thing could be cool based on, each book like that. So I'm not like super high strung about the casting, but I would like it to make sense.
And then we have Janet McTeer as Minerva. I've never heard her first name. Minerva McGonagall.
Yeah.
And also, you see the look. They have the same face. I'll give them that. Got the same kind of eyes going on there. It's not bad. She's from Ozark, right? Yeah,
yes.
Ozark.
Yeah, she's the lawyer of the cartel guy. And she's in a lot of stuff, actually. But it's going to be tough because she's following Maggie Smith. And Maggie Smith is a straight-up icon. She's a legend. Like, she's the OG McGonagall there, and she's...
She killed it.
R.I.P. I think she passed away last year, actually.
With a lot of the older actors in this cast
have passed away. Yeah, it's kind of wild, actually, because it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But I guess we're old. But no, I think this casting could be solid.
And another actor who has passed away, of course, the original Snape. And we have Papa Esiudi.
You got this.
I'm
I think
butchering
it's
these
Papa
names.
Estudio. Just because I feel like I've heard that said before, and my brain is picking it up, but I don't know that that's how it's pronounced or not.
So he is an Emmy-nominated actor. He is from I May Destroy You, The Outrun, Black Mirror, Men, The Lazarus Project, Gangs of London, and more. So if you aren't familiar, they did cast a black guy as Snape, which of course some people have a big problem with, other people not as much. It might make James Potter look like a kind of a bad guy, you know, bullying the one black kid in the School of Magic when they're at Hogwarts when they're kids. Might not look good for him, but when it comes to fictional
James.
characters, my thoughts always kind of just pick the best actor for the role, you know? If it's not like a actual real person, it doesn't totally matter, right?
Yeah. If he can fit the demeanor of Snape's character, Snape has a very definitive characteristic and style to who Severus Snape is. I think this is one of the more ones I would really want them to get right because, again, back to the OG character who played him, Alan Rickman, another absolute legend, another RIP. But he embodied the Snape character from the books. Like, he was Snape. It's one of the best castings out there. So again, it's really hard to follow in that dude's footsteps. So Mr. Papa here, and I probably did butcher his last name there, and he's from London. I don't know if he's from London. He's British. That's all I know. So I'm sure Andy will be able to tell me how stupid I sound here. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know him from anything, so it's kind of hard to know what to expect because I don't think I've seen him in any of these things. So we'll see.
Maybe it's a smart choice to go in kind of an opposite direction because with a character like Snape, you don't want someone just like cosplaying as Alan
You'll never
Rickman.
Repeat it. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? You still have to have that snarky attitude, but you know what I mean?
Or lean all in and cast Adam Driver as Snape and really just lean into trying to imitate Alan Rickman there. I feel like he could nail the imitation of the accent too. Like I could picture Adam Driver imitating Severus Snape.
I could see it.
Good, but yeah, we'll see. I haven't seen it on social media, but I'm sure there's an uproar. I just saw these castings today. I don't know when it was released, but I'm sure there's plenty of
that one's been out for
back
a while.
And forth. Has it? See, first I ever heard of it. There you go.
And we have Nick Frost as Rubius Hagrid.
Love this one.
I mean, looks good. This is, of course, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, all those movies back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm down with this one. I think he has that kind of goofy, fun-loving, friendly look to him, you know?
Yeah. No, and he's got good humor. I like his style in all of those movies. Again, they're all kind of like the same.
Another RIP
director.
As well.
Yeah, I was just going to say this yet again. Because Dumbledore, the actor, man, he passed away before the series even finished. And then the new guy came in, and I think the new guy has passed away since then.
Jeez.
Yeah, not a lot of survivors here, so you're kind of taking a risk signing up in this project, maybe? I don't know. Hopefully you survive. I forgot where we were going with that. Oh, yeah, Nick Frost is Hagrid. Yeah, I think this will be a good one. And again, Robbie Coltrane was an absolute legend. So it's a really hard cast. I guess I am getting the particularness because they did really nail the cast on these original movies.
They did. It's hard to duplicate. And we have Luke Thallin as all these first names. Come on, JK. Quirinus Quirrell. And he is
Professor Quirrell.
Yeah.
Quirrell,
he's the guy who has Voldemort inside of his freaking...
Yeah. Chilling on the back of his domesky there. Hanging out rent-free, literally.
Let's see. Oh, he's a newcomer to the world of acting, has starred in The Favorite and Present Laughter. I like that. Get a young up-and-comer, a nice little role. Yeah. I mean, he only lasts for the first series.
Right,
first season, right?
For season 1 anyway. So yeah, give him a shot.
Damn. And here, Walder Frey. Is Walder Frey R.I.P.?
No, I think he's still alive. David Bradley. Come on, buddy. Come on, Bradley. He's alive.
Let's
Good
go.
work, man. Beating the odds, because out of all of them, I would have guessed he would have been the first to
look at him.
Away. And by the way, yeah, Michael Gambon. Michael Gambon was the second Dumbledore. He passed away a couple years ago, too.
Paul Whitehouse has been cast as Argus Filch, who, of course, is the security guard of the grounds, basically, with his little his cat running around with him.
It's a campus monitor.
Right. He's been in a few things: Corpse Bride, Alice in Wonderland. So he must have been voice actors. But yeah, I mean, honestly, they all have the look of the original character.
Yeah,
Besides
this one
Snape,
works.
obviously.
Oh yeah, the look part's a little off to the left on Snape.
But yeah, of course,
yeah.
we still have Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Lord Voldemort, Draco, Sirius Black, Lupin, Umbridge, Moody, Weasley. So I think the three main kids and Voldemort is the keys there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. I mean, Voldemort, really, he probably, I guess the voice, maybe you want to introduce the voice because he's not going to have the look of him in this first season. I'm fairly certain Ralph Fiennes didn't show up as Voldemort until the fourth one.
Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, I think it was Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
It was the first time he actually showed up.
When Wormtongue does the drop of blood and the thing in the...
Yeah, so, yeah, we'll see.
You're not Wormtongue. Wormtail. Is it Wormtail?
Wormtail. I know. I've called him Wormtongue multiple times before, too.
That's Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it's Wormtail, Peter Pettigrew there. By the way, Filch, the new actor, he was actually in Prisoner of Azkaban. Small role, but it's very interesting.
There we go.
He's back in the Harry Potter. Can't keep this guy away.
It would be kind of funny to cast Daniel Radcliffe as James Potter.
Well, I was going to say just recast him as Harry because he still looks like he's 14 years old, but James would be a nice little play there.
Right, you know what I mean? Just for a couple flashbacks to have him as James Potter.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't know exactly when this show is releasing. I don't think they've even started filming yet, obviously. I would expect it to be 2026 or 2027.
Yeah, I would guess 27 at this point, but
I'm excited for it. I think if it's a good show, I mean, I'm a fan of the Rings of Power. I know a lot of people aren't, so I feel like it's even on a Rings of Power scale with just getting more info. Like it's more like the book, not just squeezing it all into 2 hours. It could be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fully based on the book, so it sounds like they're not going to be taking a lot of liberties with it. They're just going to have more time to put it all on the screen. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll keep it in the kind of HBO frame here with a little Dune Messiah. So Robert Pattinson has been targeted for a role in this movie, and he would be playing the villain Skytail, which he is a shapeshifter face dancer who is the head of a conspiracy against Emperor Paul Atreides. So Dave, you have been reading Dune Messiah. Are you familiar with the Skytail, the leader of the conspiracy? You did talk about face dancers.
Yeah, so he's the main one. He's not in it a ton at this point. I'm more than halfway through it now.
He kind of does that with villains, though.
Yeah. So I'm expecting he's going to show up in the third act for sure more. But it makes sense so far. He's kind of like, obviously he's a plotting, kind of cunning, slithery character as he's plotting this overthrowing of the throne there. And I could see him being like kind of a creep almost, which Robert Pattinson is good at kind of giving you that off-putting kind of feel to it. Like even a weird example, but I think it was The Crown where he was the French leader. Like he was kind of a sleazy scumbag villain kind of deal, cocky. Now, and I don't know if it's Scytail or Skytail, but his character isn't like the French king, but just as a matter of Robert Pattinson's acting range, I could see him kind of hitting those notes on this character. But again, it's going to be hard to really see the full scope of who this character is until he comes back around in the third act.
Okay.
But that's cool. I mean, that's exciting because Robert Pattinson's great. Adding another big name like that to the movie, that gets me more excited. And the more I read the book and less I'm kind of excited about it or thinking, wow, this is not that great, the more I'm kind of excited for Denis' adaptation because I think he could turn it into something really worthwhile.
He will.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hope have there been a lot of flashbacks to the Holy War, or do they just kind of talk about it?
Bro, like none. I still don't know what the hell happened. It's pretty frustrating. Like they barely ever talk about it. They just the most you'll hear about it is the atrocities or the horrible things you've done or the blood that you've spilled, stuff like that. But it's never
talking
specific.
To Paul?
Yeah, Paul or just people in his camp or Stilgar.
Okay.
It's just kind of like it's never specific about any detail to it. You just know people died. A lot of people died. Big war, slaughter, conquest. But no details.
Oh yeah, because they were leaving the planet to go fight all the a racket as
Yeah,
people were leaving, right?
but I don't even know if that happened because it doesn't mention them going to different planets or anything. They're on Dune during this book. So I literally, I don't know what happened during that. They don't tell you. So yeah, all we have to go off of is what they said was going to happen in the first book or the first and second movie.
Right. I feel like at least like the beginning of Dune Messiah could be like a Paul Atreides dream where he's like dreaming of the Holy War and there's like all these like a 5 minute sequence to start the movie and then he wakes up as like, you know, God or the Emperor, not God Emperor, but the Emperor.
Like a prologue sequence, kind of like the prologue for Fellowship, where we got the whole army and the Battle of Sauron and everything in Mordor. Just do some, please, just give me something. You can't set up such a crazy concept and then just never refer to it and show people what happened again.
Right. And Florence Pugh is returning as Queen Irulan, of course. So I'm glad they aren't recasting people since it is 10, 12 years in the future. Just make them look a little older. Put a gray streak in Paul's hair. And we do have one more HBO topic, and it is, of course, a Winds of Winter update. We got one from George, baby. And it is not good.
Yeah. Didn't for a second expect it to be.
He says that The Winds of Winter is the curse of my life. There is no doubt the book is 13 years late. Sometimes things avert my attention, a deadline for the HBO shows, like one thing. He also responded to fans mocking him saying we got direwolves before Winds of Winter. You've heard exactly what role I played in the direwolf thing. That did not seriously impinge on the writing of Winds of Winter, but my more fanatic fans make it seem as if it's one or the other, and it's not. So he was like
Of course, like
him and Peter Jackson are like big donors into that whole research that they did. So
that's fun.
that's why there's like the pictures of him holding them.
But I was gonna say it's not like it took up like they had him on the research team and stuff or anything like that. I'm sure. So yeah, I didn't think that was wasting his time.
It's funny,
you know,
George.
I've spent the last couple years we've been doing this pod, more and more we talk about George, going on 3 now. Yeah, well, for that too, the 13 years we've been waiting. Getting more and more aggressive towards my frustration with George. Every time we bring it up, I'm more pissed off, and I'm like, screw you, George. And I've given up faith. You know, I think I said it a few times ago, like, we're not getting it. But I am starting to kind of feel bad for George. I'm still very frustrated with him, but that was his life work too, and he just has social media and everything where the whole world has access to just ridiculing this man who is on social media. He is active, he reads these things, and he's just constantly being ridiculed about how he hasn't finished his life's work, really. Like, this was his whole...
That's kind of crazy.
The Song of Ice and Fire is his life's work. It's his creation, and he's not going to be able to finish it. And that probably sucks for him. I'm sure he's going to have some internal struggles, you know, once he comes to finally accept that it's not coming out. But then you just think of all the constant stuff he's reading. The more I think about it, I'm like, damn, I feel bad for the dude. He blew it, but I feel bad for the guy. He can't be super happy right now with the way things are. Like,
and even if they finished it like after he passed on, it would feel like Frank Herbert's son's taking over. And it, you know, like just the way George writes is so specific. No one could recreate that.
No, like, we'll never get to understand the detail of how disgusting it is for one of the house dwarves to be having sex with some other person very vividly. And with George's imagination, you know, we'll never get that creepy writing and the uncomfortable sex scenes. So can't recreate that.
On the positive side, though, of his writing, where he describes people's outfits. I love how he describes outfits that they're wearing.
Right.
Where it's like inlaid with gold trim, you know, the golden lions on each shoulder, and like he just goes all into it, and that's so perfect for me.
No, beyond the joking about him having the weird sexual thing going on, he is a great writer, and the description of everything and his world building. That's why it hurts so much to not get to see his final vision, you know. Again, even if he does, it's just it'll never be the original thing off his original plans because of the series. So it'll always hurt. I don't know if I'll ever get over that.
You didn't like his description of the Lord's kiss?
I don't even remember which. Oh, was that John going down on Ygritte? Yeah, it was beautiful.
She's like, I never heard of that before. All right, let's move on to Star Wars. So we're gonna kind of shit on Tony Gilroy for a second before we praise him for the next 2 months, or no. So there is a Star Wars horror project accordingly in the works. So Gilroy was asked about the horror project due to comments he made earlier in the year to SFX magazine, where he joked that he'd like to see a multi-camera sitcom, think Big Bang Theory, or not Young Sheldon. So Big Bang Theory, but not the sequel. I think they both are dumb. Or a horror project developed for the Star Wars universe. It seems Gilroy isn't involved himself, but he did refer to the project that they're working on. Lucasfilm, not himself. So they're working on it. And the quote is, they're already doing that. I think they're doing that. I think that's in the works. Yeah. That's the quote. So print it and fucking post it all over the internet because he says, I think they're doing, like, I haven't seen him actually say it. But he probably like shrugs his shoulders and his voice gets a little high and he goes, yeah, I think they're doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've already heard that he's only been focused on Andor the whole time. He's not doing another Star Wars project. He doesn't seem like he's like in there with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, like, hey, what are you guys doing next? Let me get in on this. Like, he doesn't have any real inside information, I feel like. But a Star Wars horror project would be kind of cool. I don't see the appeal, though. I don't know. I feel like could be kind of off-putting. I feel like that'd have to be like a Disney Plus thing.
Yeah.
Unless it was Vader.
Yeah, but then with the horror, they'll never do that. They'll never take their prized IP in Darth Vader and put him in a horror project. They
right,
won't
exactly.
That. But it'd have to be a special presentation deal, like Werewolf at Midnight.
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night, yeah, at midnight, something.
Same thing.
And they could, again, there's the most famous internet Star Wars horror story out there, which is the one where the ship has a virus that breaks out and it's stormtrooper zombies and somebody's stuck on this Star Destroyer with all these. I always forget what it's called. I think it's called Nightfall or something. But they could do something like that, and I think that would bring in enough mainstream appeal. But outside of that, I don't know. Like JD said, he doesn't really have much interest in a Star Wars horror film. It's probably going to be kind of a shell of what horror should be. I don't know. It doesn't get me stoked. I honestly didn't even see it was Tony Gilroy who said that until you just mentioned that right there.
Well, if it is Werewolf by Night was pretty sick. You watched that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
It was good. So if it's in that kind of style, and maybe it is like the main character is a stormtrooper who's like just terrified of being a stormtrooper and he's like going on this planet. Maybe it's, you know what? What if it's Return of the Jedi and it's the stormtroopers and the Ewoks and the Ewoks are fucking picking them off in the forest at night?
Oh, I'm there. I'm absolutely there for that. No,
just like the stormtrooper helmet cam, first person, and then like two Ewoks just jump out of nowhere.
Just blood-soaked fur. Ewoks launching out with two spears in each hand.
Red eyes.
I'm here for it. That stormtrooper zombie thing, they're death troopers. It's called Star Wars Death Troopers, and it's a virus named Blackwing that infects the whole crew, and they're undead beings. That'd be pretty wild, but
yeah.
Based on the quote, I have no expectation, though. Like, what the hell?
All right, we do have a couple Marvel topics. There is a new look at Mahershala Ali's Blade as Moon Knight from the end of What If Season 3. And the character will appear in Marvel Zombies. So like you said, this might be the only time we get to see Mahershala Ali as Blade. And it is animated, but he is at least voicing it, right? So they got him in there. He's getting paid to do something at least.
Right. Yeah. They got the foot in the door, but yeah, I totally wouldn't be surprised if this is the only time we see him. But it's almost like they had him on contract and they realized, okay, Blade's not happening, but we signed a contract with him that he would be in this many projects. So, okay, how can we do this? Okay, we'll get him in What If, and we'll get him in Marvel Zombies. Boom, there's 2 projects that clears this part of the contract. Like, I feel like that's what's happening, and so they just decided to combine. I don't know if Blade and Moon Knight have ever been, like, a combined character like this. Well, that or one and the same, Blade being Moon Knight, as he's going to be. It's obviously a variant of Moon Knight here where Blade becomes him instead of Mark Spector.
One of his aliases.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a thing that was already a thing in the comics or if this is a brand new. I swear I wouldn't be surprised if this was a contract thing. They just forced this into it. But it sounds like it'd be a cool concept.
Yeah. Did you ever finish What If Season 2?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
No, it wasn't that good.
I got like halfway and I was like, eh.
They just kind of did the same thing as season 1. The last couple episodes were one of the main characters gathering all the super powerful beings from the other stories that they had, and they bring all these super powerful beings with all these infinity stones, and they fight against a villain who's got even more infinity stones. Like, it was kind of the same exact thing as the season 1 kind of finale thing.
Who's the villain in the end?
Just more Captain Carter. It's Doctor Strange again. It's the same guy who learned his lesson from going evil to save Christine, and by the end of season 1, he's trapped in his prison that he accepted. He's like, I'm going to stay in this prison and block myself from the world. You know, I did terrible things. It's just him. And what is his motivation in season 2? I got to bring Christine back. I can do it this time. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, they literally just brought him back to do the same thing. It was like, that's wild. Okay, so now season 2 is a pretty big disappointment. The bright shining aspect of it was the brand new original character they brought in, Kahari, I think, the Native American superhero.
Right.
It was pretty interesting. Her episode, at least, alone. I liked that, but yeah, as a whole, it was not great.
And one more Marvel topic. We do have Disney has scheduled additional release dates. I feel like this has been out for a while, but I kind of want to talk about it relating to our last Week in Geek. We were talking about how Fantastic Four has to lead into Avengers Doomsday because it's the last movie. But there is a February 13th, 2026 release date for an unannounced film, which is, 3 months before Doomsday comes out? So, what do you think this could be?
10 months away. Bro, that's less than a year away.
Doctor Strange?
No, maybe. No, I don't know. I think maybe this could be, maybe they've been still working on Blade. Again, maybe that's the third contract in Mahershala's thing is, you know what, we're going to force feed this one Blade movie. Really?
I suggest it could be the Blade movie.
Oh, God. And if it
or Doctor Strange 3.
It's just going to be a stitched together mess that they just had to release and get off their plate, I feel like. If they're doing Blade, it's coming out in less than a year, and we haven't heard a single thing about it, and they didn't even have a script ready a few months ago. How is it going to be good? This is just going to be, man. If Chapek was still in control, I'd 100% think this is just a contract thing. They're throwing it out there.
But if it releases in 10 months, it has to be filming already. You can't film a movie and do all that in less than 10 months. So the other thing they're saying is a Shang-Chi or an Eternal sequel. I don't see an Eternal sequel. Maybe Shang-Chi, but haven't heard anything on that yet.
Yeah, I don't know. My only thought is maybe Spider-Man 4.
No, that's coming out right after.
I know it's supposed to come after Doomsday, but maybe they're moving along quicker than... I don't know. I feel like that one makes more sense than Shang-Chi or Doctor Strange or Eternals. I feel like all of those, it would be rushed, or they've just done a really good job of keeping it under wraps. Unless, again, Armor Wars is happening again. I don't know where the hell that thing's at in the whole scheme of things.
I would say Blade, Doctor Strange 3, or Shang-Chi.
I'm going to go Blade, Spider-Man, or Armor Wars.
You think they push Spider-Man up? Because they just announced it's coming out in July.
Yeah, no, you're right. They did just kind of make an official announcement about that, so... I mean, it'd only be going up by 5 months, which is a pretty substantial amount.
And there's another one for November 2026. So that sounds like Doctor Strange 3 right there. In between the two movies, I think having Spider-Man and Doctor Strange only be in Secret Wars, like you're talking about, could be a good idea.
Yeah,
Where's the Wanda movie at, bro? Where is Wanda at? Like, what are we doing since WandaVision?
Just chilling.
Just like the best show that everyone, not the best show, but top 3 that everyone really liked. Just, all right, she's dead.
Well, they just undid everything. That whole series had this whole arc for her where she finally came to accept it all. And then the multiverse, they're like, yeah, psych. Kind of like the Doctor Strange thing. What if? Like, hey, remember that lesson she learned? She forgot. She's back to being evil. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where she's at. Bring back Wanda. Bring back Vision. Bring back Ultron.
But if Fantastic Four doesn't... I mean, Fantastic Four's post-credit scene needs to be something about Avengers, but definitely the movie that comes out 4 months before Avengers Doomsday, there needs to be a good tie-in, at least, right? Like, something to get us going, because everyone's all over the place. No one's talked to each other since Shang-Chi, the post-credit scene when he went and his rings were, flaring, and they were talking about that. That's the only thing, right?
I think there was one more scene similar to that where there was a group of them. I know Shang-Chi was one of them. Was it the Marvels? Where
I
like
think you're.
Wong, God,
Yeah.
who else was there? I thought there was another post credit where it showed like a group of them one more time. And they said like welcome. No, the welcome thing was a Shang-Chi. There was something. I don't know. We'll have to go back and figure it out. But it does feel like they still have a lot to set up. Yeah, line up some things.
Right. Because even think of the first Avengers movie, at least there were like post-credit scenes of the other characters that were coming in, and they
Right.
try to do a little bit.
Yeah, it got sloppy. I got to get back to form.
Right. All right. So real quick before Last of Us, have you been any updates on your recent watching, reading, playing? I know you've been cooking that Red Dead Redemption for 120
Oh
hours.
God, 131 hours on Red Dead, and I ain't even 65% of the way through. I am absolutely squeezing everything that is worth. I butchered 3 different sayings right there. Getting juice out of an orange or something. I'm squeezing things real hard. playing it a lot. Yeah, no, I'm freaking loving that. So yeah, it'd be fun if we do like a full-on Red Dead segment. I just went and saw Warfare. It's an A24 movie. So if you saw the trailer, your first thought was probably like, oh, this might be the movie that Civil War was supposed to be, that people thought Civil War was going to be. Like, oh, actually up close, first person, in the middle of the heat of battle, like crazy, detailed, crazy battles kind of deal. So it was like, this could be it. And it's Will Poulter. So Adam Warlock, he's obviously in We Are the Millers, where he got his eyebrows fame started. He's been in The Bear. Joseph Quinn, our boy, Johnny Storm is in it.
Reading a Johnny Storm comic book? Did you see that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Was that like a set shot or something? Or in the
I
trailer?
saw it on Twitter. I don't know if it was real or not, but he was like reading
Never seen him reading anywhere. But he was good in it, Joseph Quinn. He had a very limited, I mean, I won't get into it, but, and then the lead of Shogun was in it too. I forgot his name already too, but the British guy who shows up on the shores, he was in it too. A couple other guys. Anyways, all to say, they kind of Civil War'd us again. It was only 90 minutes. A lot of it was very slow and dragged a lot. It was very detailed to the point where you would believe that was all like a real thing. It's based on a true story. The guy who survived was a big part of the whole production of the movie. But yeah, about half of it, it's just, you're just watching soldiers sitting around, spitting, writing notes, watching people walking down the street. Bogey at 11 o'clock went into building 4. Bogey at 11:44 went into building 3. And it's just bouncing around for about 20 minutes, just different soldiers as they're killing time and doing a recon mission. And then that happens again. I was waiting to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom 30 minutes in. And I was like, oh, it's about to pop off. I can't go now. 20 minutes later, it still hadn't popped off. I was like, I blew it. I didn't go to the bathroom the whole movie. Because then once it popped off, you were in it. It was very tense. The problem was, I think it was too hyper-realistic. That's probably exactly how those battles and recon and evac missions go.
You're there for like 15 hours.
Yeah, and you're not wiping out people left and right. You're not headshotting people. Like, you are under fire, hiding, letting off a shot just to get them off your back.
Mm-hmm.
Some legs got blown off, and those scenes were like hard to watch at points. So realistic, like up close. This one dude's got leg wounds and they're cutting his pants off, shows everything at his crotch, and it's just an IED blew up. It's just torn at it was like I closed my eyes and turned away multiple times. So all to say that it was respect to them who made it. I'm sure that was very hard, and you can tell they went the distance and the effort to get those details right. But it's just not exactly what makes an exciting cinematic movie. So overall, I'd probably give it a high 6, 6.9 out of 10 or something at best. Again, just because I really appreciated the detail of it all and how real it felt. But it's just pretty slow.
A24 is always a well-made movie, but yeah, sometimes they're a little slow and artsy. And
lean a little too into the artsy, yeah, here and there. Definitely happened a few times, but yeah. Actors killed it, though.
I forgot to talk about, I did see Mickey 17 in theaters.
Yeah, how
was that? I
don't
think I mentioned that. It was good. Robert Pattinson, of course, is like It's in the future, and they're trying to find a new planet to live on because Earth's all fucked up, and he like owes hella money, so he signs up for the one position no one else wants to sign up for, and it's to be basically like a sacrificial lamb. So he goes out there and does all the crazy shit. He dies, and he's on to number 17 of himself, you know. But there's a twist, you know, and some crazy stuff goes on. But yeah, it was pretty solid. He did a good job of playing kind of multiple roles at once.
Nice. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I didn't make it out, so I'm waiting for it to drop streaming because I still do want to watch it. It'll probably be on Apple, if I had to guess, right?
I could see that.
Is it A24?
And then I also started a Netflix series, Yellow Jackets. I think season 3 or 4 is coming out soon, but it's where the high school girls soccer team like crashes in like Canada somewhere, I'm guessing, and some crazy shit goes down. But there's also the adult versions of the adult versions of the kids also have actors playing them in the future. So it's kind of telling two stories at the same time. Some shit goes down. Some of them survive. Some of them don't. It's interesting though. I'm about halfway through the first season. I'm liking it.
Okay. I've heard not much about it, but it seems like there's like a cult fan base to it. Who do love it.
And a good cast too. Ella Purnell from Fallout's in it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
She's solid.
A couple other recognizable faces. Christina Ricci's in it.
Oh, really? Funny.
Yeah. And then Assassin's Creed. I'm still playing that. I'm actually 26 hours in.
Wow.
And I'm only on this. I'm about to leave the second little region to go to the third one, which is kind of crazy. So I feel like it said like, oh, you'll beat the game in like 50, 60 hours. It's like, I'm like not even a quarter of the way through and I have 25 hours. So also with the hideout, you can like in Valhalla was the first one where you could like kind of customize your hideout, put like little like decorations and stuff up. But in this one, it's like full on Fallout style where you can do it all. So you can sit there for like 45 minutes putting like cobblestone. I made a little Zen garden in the middle. You can go all out. So yeah, it's a lot of fun with that.
That did look dope. That setup you were showing me doing the building.
Mm-hmm.
So like action wise, battle flow and everything, how does it compare to the last one you played?
They changed it for sure. I feel like it was too much button mashing before, where if you were like you had a good sword and good armor, you could just run up to someone and just fucking light attack, heart attack, and just take them out.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more strategic, but it does make it a little clunkier where you have to kind of wait. And also, some of the AIs, they kind of stand there for a second and just like hold their pose. And it's like, okay, like, come on. Like, I know if I try to hit you, you're going to block it. So just come fucking swing at me. So that is one of the parts where it's kind of like, okay, like, come on, like, come at me.
Somebody hit me.
But yeah, it's not Red Dead Redemption, obviously. And it's like, I would say it's a poor man's version of Ghost of Tsushima, you know, where it's just like, it's just a fun game. You know what I mean? It's just a good time. That's what it is. Don't expect like great writing or like the best story you've ever heard. Like, it's really just about going around style killing people. Like Yasuke, he has one where he'll like, you can hold it down and he kicks you in the face and then just does one strike and he beheads the guy. And it's like,
that's dope.
Oh my God. And then one where the girl, she'll like cut you a couple times and then swing around the back of you and then slit your throat from behind. It's like, all right, that was pretty sick too. So there's some good style kills.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets. I mean, Assassin's Creed just is what it is. You know, it's not game of the year. It's just a fun time.
It's an Ubisoft game still, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, and Ubisoft is always going to get ripped, so it's always going to be in the crosshairs of people talking crap about video games. And yeah, I haven't played them in a while, but what you said is true. Like, I didn't play them expecting game of the year. I just really enjoyed jumping around, doing some dope kills, and like you said, it was pretty easy to like run up to a group of 5 and just take them all out. Like, but I would love, you know, it had its limited run of how fun it was to keep doing that, but I would love playing that stuff, you know, back in the day. Black Flag was still, I freaking love that one, but
they're going to remake it, so stay tuned.
Oh, you're speaking my language now. Okay.
Or a sequel, but there's going to be like a Black Flag 2 or a Black Flag on remastered.
Okay.
Or at least another pirate, because the pirates thing's so fun with the ships and the, you know, the ports
blast.
and yeah.
taking over the forts and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
All right. Let's move on to our final topic, The Last of Us Season 2 premiere. This shouldn't take as long as our normal breakdowns. So,
No.
the episode's titled Future Days. It picks up 5 years after the events of Season 1. Joel and Ellie have settled into Jackson, Wyoming, but their relationship is strained due to Joel's past actions as he deals with those consequences. Ellie, now 19 years old, has a larger role within the community on patrol, and we are introduced to a new threat in the form of a more intelligent infected, raising concerns about evolving dangers. Additionally, Abby, a survivor of Joel's past violence, is seen approaching Jackson with the group, setting the stage for future conflicts.
She's pissed.
Joel just massacred. And it's like
Unarmed
okay,
doctors and nurses, unarmed, just found dead. Like
you can definitely see their side. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why did he just murder everyone to save one girl and then bounce with their only working vehicle? Like, I mean, I'd probably be out for vengeance too.
Yeah, bro, they have nothing left. Like,
full spoilers.
Oh yeah, absolutely full spoilers, especially for season 1, but this episode too. They have nothing left, dude. It's a world in which you need numbers to survive, and this whole Firefly thing is something they've been working on for so long, and they all just got wiped out by one dude and are just left there going, there's like 6 of us left. Everybody's dead. Plan's gone. The cure's gone. What are we doing now? Yeah, we're going to go find that fool and then absolutely slaughter him and whoever's with him probably at this point. So great start for a villain role, for a villain character.
Villain.
I've heard,
quote,
well, yeah. But I've heard talk of her before this season came, like, oh, this character's going to be in season 2. She's pretty crazy. Like, so I'm expecting
her in
pretty
the game.
Wild stuff. Really? That adds another level to it.
Yeah,
interesting.
You switch back and forth between.
But that adds a whole nother layer to this thing. Interesting. I did not know that. Okay.
I never finished the second game, but I do know that.
I want to play them. I've never played either of them, but
the first one's really good. It's a very cinematic game where no map, you're just going straight. You know, you have to find there's no map, no nothing. You know, just go straight forward.
Pretty sick. I like that.
Not straightforward, but you have to just kind of find your way through.
Just walk a straight line the whole time. You better not hook left.
And then it jumps forward 5 years, and Ellie's going through some intense training where the guy's just apparently he held his punch back, but it's like, you know, I know we're training for the apocalypse, so we probably shouldn't be like injuring each other, right? And then she doesn't let go.
Arms.
Yeah, like easy,
permanent
girl.
Damage, like
we have one doctor and no surgeon, so let's not get crazy here.
Stop. I already don't like her right off the bat because of that. It was like, hey, you're in the apocalypse. Even if you weren't, you don't snap a dude's arm like that. Like, well, you don't.
He's tapped out.
And they were pretty chill about it. And she's like, oh, sorry, I got into it, yada, yada. And it was just right off the bat. I was like, oh, we're back to Ellie, who just doesn't care about other people, does her own thing, and has no remorse for stuff. She's just like, whoa, what? I was just doing this. It's like, you suck. I don't know if I'm going to survive 19-year-old Ellie. I've been rewatching season 1, the first few episodes. I can't stand her. And I could not stand her in this episode.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe, like, at about the same point, too. Like, God, she's kind of insufferable.
She's kind of very capable, but yeah, man, I'm waiting for somebody to smack her.
She doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities at the moment, it seems like, you know? There's no like, oh, but she's this, oh, but she's that, like.
And she doesn't even know that Joel murdered everybody and lied. So if she knew, that would be one thing. But she's just doing this because she's... Does she? Or is she just sick of him being overbearing and overprotective?
No. She knows he's not telling the truth, for sure.
Okay.
Like the way... Because it showed that recap. It showed that recap at the beginning where she's like, tell me the truth about the Fireflies. And he's like, pauses, and he's like, I'm telling the truth. And then she just gives him a look like, you fucker.
She did give him that hesitant. After she said okay, he turned around. She kind of looked like stared eyes from the back of his skull there. So all right, I guess that. But yeah, I could not a big fan of Ellie in this episode here.
And there's a good little back and forth about, do we bring in more people or do you protect your own? Joel's kind of sitting there going over things, and he's like, we got to stop bringing people in. Like, if you can't protect the ones you already know who are already with us, and you can't provide enough food and shelter for them, he says he's trying to expand the place to get more housing or whatever. So, how do you feel about that? I'm kind of with Joel on
Yeah.
that, where you can't just save everybody.
Yeah, no, I am too. Yeah, he said if you can't take care of yourself, you're no good to anyone. And that's so true. Like, it's true with anything in life. Like, if you're not in a good place, mentally, spiritually, whatever the case is, you're not going to be able to really help others because you're not in a good place yourself. And when it comes to an apocalyptic scenario like this, like, yeah, look, if the life raft is going to sink and kill everybody, what's the point of the life raft? Like, save who you can until more life rafts appear or more space can be made. But there's no point in letting everybody die if you're just going to do that every time. It's the apocalypse. It's unfortunate. Some people are going to die. Some people can't come in. But, like, that's the state of the world. And if you don't and you just let everybody in, nobody's going to be around anymore. So you got to draw a line somewhere. I'm totally there with Joel. I know she drops the line at the end when he goes to walk out. She says, you were a refugee too. And it's like, yeah, but he was a refugee when there was room, evidently, and there's no more room now. So he made the cut, good timing. But, it reminded me of season 1 where Joel and Ellie are walking by the bodies of dead people. And Ellie goes, what happened here? And Joel says, well, there was a time where people were told they were going to a QZ, and that was true. But when they got there and it was full, instead of letting them turn eventually, they just shot everybody down. And so she was like, these people weren't even sick. And he said, probably not, no. So there's the reality of, yeah, you're either condemning them to be killed or be more zombies coming at you. So I get that, but I'm still with Joel for sure. Like, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't help others. You have to be able to make sure you guys survive. So,
But like a lady and 2 kids shows up at your door, you're going to be like, fuck, like, all right, come on in. Like,
right. You guys can sleep in the closet, I guess, as long as we limit. But yeah, so, and again, there are always concessions you can make to an extent, but group of 30 shows up, you have no housing left, barely any food, even group of 5 to 10, it's like, eventually, there's some point you have to cut it off. You have to, so. And
when people get hungry, they get mad and revolts and civil wars start happening and everything goes to shit.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. It felt like a nod to the border thing, the border crisis of everything going on in the U.S. too, but not like at all in a forced way. Like, it just kind of happened to be like, yeah, that's something comparable to stuff that's going on right now. But it was done in a pretty good way between the two for the scene.
And Joel's in therapy. He doesn't want anyone to know about this, but
a wild therapist.
And Joel's basically living in denial, saying Ellie barely acknowledges him. Like, he said he's trying to back off, let her do her own thing, and it hasn't worked out at all. And that's when Gail says, you're lying to me. You're leaving something out. Like, I've been doing this for long enough. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to say the thing that I've been leaving out. She says, you killed my husband. I hate you for it. Your face in our home makes me so angry. And apparently, I was confused too because I thought, oh, did he kill him in season 1? But she says this is her first birthday without her husband.
Yeah.
So this happened during the time jump.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought too, but I was like, almost, do I remember Joel killing somebody when they got here? I was starting to think of Rick.
And she said you had to do it. You had to do it. It was the right thing to do. And I guess I looked a little bit into it. I think we might get more later in the season, but I think it's one of his brother's friends. It's one of his brothers. Kind of guys he was hanging out with. So what he did was the right thing, but she still resents him for it, obviously. And she says, tell me your secret. And he, just says, I saved her. And just walks up and gets out. Like,
okay, true.
Like, yeah, it was true. He did
still leaving out a lot.
Yeah. That was interesting, though.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
I like her. Home Alone mom.
I was going to say, yeah.
Beetlejuice.
She's kind of blown up a lot recently. She's had a resurgence in her career because she's also...
Beetlejuice.
Well, Beetlejuice. Schitt's Creek.
Oh, no, you just said it 3 times in a row.
Uh-oh, heads up. Michael Keaton's in my closet. She was Rose in Schitt's Creek, which is a hell of a funny show. She's the mom. But she's popped up in a lot of stuff over the last 5 years, I feel like, again.
Yeah.
No, it's not Rose. It's Marla... Shoot, now I gotta figure that out. Moira Rose. But it was a good scene. Anyway, all to say.
Yeah. Ellie's out on patrol. And she has a date for the dance later. She finds that out. And we do see a bear was killed by zombies. That was pretty crazy. I thought it was
Yeah.
maybe a bear zombie at first, but no, they just kill the
Fallout
bear.
style.
Right. And of course, Ellie's trying to look cool, like, hey, I meant to do that. And then she falls through the floor, going down to the lower level. This is where we see this new form of zombie, where at first it sounds like a scared woman, but you can see it like crawling around back. It's like, oh, but that's a zombie,
Creepy.
but it doesn't sound like a zombie. It still sounds like a human. And it has like sneaky tactics. It's like when she turns around, it's gone all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And the fungus kind of crown she had was kind of cool, and then it was also coming out of her nose. So
Dude,
it was like
the design
I
of
don't
the
know how.
fungi. Oh my god, it's skin crawling. Like season one
I
again,
loved
coming
that.
out of the mouth and like the thin strands, like it's alive coming at you. Oh yeah,
Sausage
but
fingers.
no, the other thing, the sound design was great on this because it sounded like a human being whose vocal cords and lungs were being filled up with fungi, and they were trying to speak and like breathe, but the fungus was blocking up their airwaves, and so it was like, and then kind of like the scared
Good.
female, like, bro, it was really the sound design on the show is so well done. It's so creepy and just totally unnerving. Yeah, it was great. It was very interesting. Scary thinking of one of those that can think.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how that plays out because there were 6 of them together, and like, oh, that was just it. There's not more of them. I'm sure there is. It was cool. The scene before that was cool though, where when they're before she falls through and they're kind of walking around and she's peeking around the corner and you hear the click 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 going around over there. So I love those kind of scenes where you don't see the zombie but you hear it. That
Yeah.
works every time.
Oh,
Every
those
time.
clicks and guttural noises. It's
Mm-hmm.
shout out Clan Brandalorian, by the way, Brando in the
Hey.
chat. Thank you, brother. He said he watched the newest episode and totally forgot about him going crazy on the Fireflies. Yeah, that was a wild way to end the season there. And he's gonna have to address that sometime. He's just gonna get more and more depressed and in a hole until he finally admits what he did. Like, you can't live like that. It's just gonna poison you, Joel.
I'm kind of glad I didn't finish the second game for this while this season's going on, because I obviously know some major spoilers,
Spoiler.
but
Yeah.
but when it comes to like the story, not so much.
Yeah,
You know
I
the
just
major
know
spoiler too,
yeah,
right?
the major one. Which, again, after watching this episode, I'm getting more concerned about getting to that point because of certain
Same.
reasons, which I'm not going to say because I'm not going to spoil it. It was already spoiled for me. But yeah, I'm a little concerned how they're going to move forward on certain things. But anyway, away
Right.
from the sketchy territory. Did you see that shot? I think it was, well, maybe it was after the dance. I don't know. But sorry, the water pipes, the sewage and water pipes, where it shows the fungus kind of growing out of it in the dark.
No, I remember her talking to Joel about it, saying they need to be fixed. Is that what
Yes.
you were mentioning?
Yes. So because and they cracked into it at one point during the episode, and it was clay pipelines and there was roots that were growing through it. And so they were going to have to cut the roots and patch all this stuff, yada yada yada. But there was a shot where it's zooming out of one of the houses at night, and it shows one of the, it was either a sewage or a water pipe coming out of the ground and exposed, and then you barely see fungi like crawling out, like the ones that came out of their mouths and stuff, little branches of fungi extending. And so it was a hint that there's a
water
patch
supply.
rolling through into the area. Yeah, and I just reheard it on season 1 where Tess is saying, you know, there are root systems that stretch miles long of these cordyceps, and if you step on a root in one place, you could wake 30 zombies in a total other place and send them to that position, because it's like a hive mind almost. It's a network of communication. And so we just saw this pipeline having the stuff sticking out, and she said something about they'll extend it any way possible by any means, and we see this breaking into the town they're at. So stuff's about to pop off in their little reservation there
I can see that.
sooner than later. But that shot was creepy.
So the New Year's Eve party, Ellie's romance flourishes with Dina, and she says, you know, everyone's jealous of you. I think they should be terrified of you. Okay. A little kiss. I mean, I feel like we missed some stuff. I feel like this time jump kind of threw me off a little bit for the first episode, where kind of some new relationships have already been established between people and we're kind of just getting back into it, you know?
Yeah, they had good dialogue to kind of give us some
Yeah, they
exposition
did.
on what was going on, but yeah.
Some guy kind of starts talking crap, saying this is a family, a family night, but obviously it's because it's two women kissing. He doesn't want to see some lesbian stuff going on. If it was straight, it'd be okay with him. He's
Right.
old school. But Joel steps in and takes care of business, which
Yeah, Joel.
Ellie does not like because she is an independent woman.
Grow up.
But like, you gotta know who Joel. I don't know. Their whole back and forth is very complicated since what he did in the end of season 1, but he's just that protective dad, and that's what he's gonna do. Wouldn't you expect that from your dad? I don't know.
Yeah, and I attribute that to the 19-year-old thing at that point. And she thinks he's overbearing, and now he's assaulting people for her. But yeah, her reaction still pissed me off. It still was like, because everybody else, I'm sure, Dina, is that the girl's name?
Mm-hmm.
I think she was appreciative of what Joel did, and she likes him, it
Right.
seems like. And Joel even said at one point, she feels like my daughter, even though she's not. Which the therapist with the cold reply was like, yeah, neither's Ellie, which is a solid little stab there. But yeah, this scene just, God, this scene just kind of pissed me off when it was just more drama between Ellie and Joel there, and she got pissed at him for doing that, which he did what everybody else was thinking to do. So,
and then no spoilers here too, but he's sitting on the guitar on the porch later, and then you do see in the preview for the season him handing the guitar over to her. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a heart-touching scene between them with that guitar later. Like this season's gonna be sad. I'm gonna say that right now. Like, there's gonna be some tear-jerking episodes for sure.
Oh, there was in season 1. I cried during the Frank and
Jim.
Nope, definitely not Jim. Frank and
Swanson.
Yeah. I thought that was Frank. Oh, Bill. Frank and Bill. There you go. Bill and Frank. But yeah, no, I'm sure it's going to be emotional. But
yeah, so it was a solid first episode. Got back into things. It's a fun show to watch. And I love any post-apocalyptic universe that we go to. That's always fun to be in. So how'd you like this? Are you excited for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I am. I think it was a good start. It didn't match up to season 1's premiere, but it's kind of hard to do because season 1's premiere was incredible for starting off a show.
Crazy.
Went back and rewatched that and was like, what an opening episode to a show. Like,
imagine that
the
open a game.
Interview. Yeah, that would be a wild
a video game. You're
opening
like,
level.
Oh my god.
Throws you right in the middle of
fucking playing.
Dude.
And the game's only like 10, 12 hours, right?
What?
Oh yeah, it's not that long. It's maybe like 15 because you can't go off and do side quests.
Side quests, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're just doing the story, so it's not like a big long thing you have to go through.
One day I'll have a PlayStation, I'll play it. Or they'll release it on Xbox, but just stop being lame and get a PC, But anyway, back to the premiere. Overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. I am really excited for the rest of the season and this Abby character coming for vengeance. I'm nervous with my feelings on Ellie moving forward and how much screen time she's going to have, but I'm hoping there's some change in the writing. It's just when I go back and watch season 1 and she's annoying me the same amount, but just for different reasons, it's like, that's not a great sign. Okay, she's still driving me nuts. But all around, it was good, and I'm very intrigued to see what goes on moving forward in this little community they got built here. We know it's not. It's nice to see
Pedro Pascal too.
Yeah, he does great. I love the role he plays and the vibe he has with this role, this character.
You can tell he's dealing with some skeletons.
Mm-hmm. He plays it great.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode of Week in Geek / Last of Us. We will be doing our Daredevil Born Again finale in 2 days if you're listening live. If not, check it out on the Apple or Spotify feed soon after this. And we thank you for joining us here on Why So City is a Nerd podcast, and we will see you next time, you nerds.